Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're keeping tabs on the cutting edge of digital creation, you already know we're right in the middle of a massive shift. Today, we're diving into how AI is transforming. We're moving away from rigid, standard software, the kind that just sits there waiting for your input, into something that's actually a proactive, highly adaptable creative partner. It is a wildly fascinating evolution, and we're going to break down exactly how it's all happening.
I want you to step into the shoes of a digital creator for just a second. Imagine a machine that doesn't just sit idle, staring blankly, waiting for a prompt. Instead, it actually reads the room. It understands the context of your project and adjusts its behavior on the fly to help you nail your vision. What does that actually look like in practice? Seriously, how does a system get that intuitive?
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for the explainer today. First, we'll look at the evolution of agents. Second, the virtual creative factory. Third, the modular architecture. Fourth, AI and creative action. And finally, balancing autonomy and ethics.
All right, Section 1, the evolution of agents. Now, you might be thinking the whole concept of an AI agent is incredibly new, right? But actually, the core idea, an entity that perceives its environment and takes action to hit a specific goal, that literally dates back to mid-20th century research. But of course, the leap from those dusty early theories to what we have today, well, that took decades of major breakthroughs.
What's really interesting here is how we can track the AI agent's hero's journey over time. Back in the 1950s and 60s, agents were totally locked into rigid, rule-based symbolic reasoning. They laid the groundwork, for sure, but they were incredibly inflexible. Fast forward to the 1980s, and we start seeing intelligent agents operating in dynamic, changing environments. We even got multi-agent systems where they could collaborate or compete with each other. But then, the 1990s hit, and boom, the real game changer, machine learning, specifically reinforcement learning. Suddenly, these agents are figuring out optimal behaviors through trial and error adaptation. They basically went from rigid rule followers to dynamic learning machines.
Moving on to Section 2, the virtual creative factory.
To really wrap our heads around this new frontier, we've got to talk about ARTESEROSTEK, LNS. This is a highly specialized platform inside the Virtual Creative Factory, or VCF, that focuses heavily on visual and interactive experiences. What's absolutely fascinating to me is that its entire purpose is to research and test these evolving agents, embedding them directly into how we create digital content every day.
So how do they move these agents from cool theoretical concepts into practical, reliable tools? Well, the VCF has three core research pillars. First, they're researching balanced agent architectures, basically systems that can think for themselves without completely overriding the human in the loop. Second, they are developing learning models designed to anticipate user needs based on past behavior. And third, integrating these agents directly into creative workflows. We're not talking about some AI that sits in a clunky separate window. The goal is to embed the AI right into the creative process alongside you like a true coworker.
All right, let's peek under the hood. Section 3, the modular architecture.
If you think back to older software or early AI systems, they were incredibly rigid. If you wanted to update a behavior or fix a bug, you usually had to do a massive full system overhaul. It was clunky. It was slow. The VCF, though, takes a totally different approach with a modular design. Think of it like a giant set of building blocks. This lets developers push flexible component-level updates without tearing the whole house down. And honestly, this modularity is the secret sauce for seamless interoperability. It means these AI agents can literally hop between different creative tools and platforms without skipping a beat.
Because of this building block approach, we get something absolutely crucial: adjustable autonomy. Developers and creators can literally go in and modify specific modules to strike a custom balance between independent AI action and human control. Say you're on a project where you want the AI to just run wild and brainstorm, you can dial that autonomy way up. But if you're doing a delicate creative task that needs strict, precise human control, no problem. You just dial the AI's independence down. The agent literally molds itself to whatever your specific project needs.
Which brings us to Section 4, AI in creative action.
Let's ground this theory in some real-world application. The VCF is currently running some wild pilot projects to test just how versatile these agents are across totally different tasks. In graphic design, agents are pulling in visual inputs and suggesting color palettes and layouts based on current trends, all while keeping your personal preferences in mind. In project management, you've got collaborative agents autonomously handling timelines and resource allocation, which means human teams stay on track without having to micromanage everything. Huge win, right? And maybe the coolest one, interactive storytelling, where agents are adapting narrative elements in real time based on actual audience feedback.
Let's actually zoom in on that storytelling pilot for a second, because the way it works is brilliant.
It's essentially a three-step loop. Step 1, real-time input. The agent is constantly taking in human input and instant audience reactions as the story unfolds. Step 2, behavioral modeling. The AI crunches that feedback, learning from the interactions to figure out what the audience is going to want next. And finally, step 3, narrative direction. The AI uses its autonomy to actively shift the plot. But, and this is key, it does so while staying strictly aligned with the creator's original intent. It's literally reading the room and changing the story on the fly.
Now for the big one. Section 5, Balancing Autonomy and Ethics. I mean, it's the elephant in the room, right? As these systems get more capable, more autonomous, and just more woven into our daily lives, how do we possibly trust them not to hijack our creative vision? How do we maintain control when the AI is the one making real-time decisions?
Well, the short answer is that the VCF doesn't operate in a vacuum. They know they can't solve a puzzle this big alone. So they're actively collaborating with the broader AI community to nail down safe, ethical standards. This means refining cross-platform interoperability so agents are predictable no matter where they are. It means tackling the really tough stuff like privacy and bias head-on. It requires absolute transparency in how an AI makes its decisions. Through this constant iterative refinement with the wider community, the goal is to build agents that aren't just capable but fundamentally trustworthy.
And I think this beautifully illustrates the philosophy behind this whole shift. Franco Arteseros hit the nail on the head when he said, agents act as collaborators rather than mere tools. That is the core of it. We are moving away from software that you just use and moving toward an intelligence that you work with. It's a true partnership between human intent and machine capability.
So, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. We've seen the evolution, the modular architecture, and the real-world pilot projects proving that this is happening right now. As these systems become the new standard, how will a highly adaptable AI co-creator change your own everyday workflow? Think about the mundane tasks you do every single day, and imagine having the perfect partner, completely tailored to help you elevate them. Thanks so much for watching this explainer, and keep exploring.